The board and the management have a responsibility to the shareholders to make sure that their company is profitable and indeed as a national icon to the people of Australia to ensure that they're able to provide the services that are required.
2 o'clock. In accordance with Standing Order 43, the time for member statements has concluded. It is time for questions without notice. Are there any questions? I call the Honourable the Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. I refer to the Prime Minister's pre-election promise to create 1 million jobs in 5 years. Prime Minister, given that the government has known about the potential job losses at Qantas for months, what is the government's plan to support 5,000 Qantas workers who found out they've lost their jobs today?
I call the Honourable the Prime Minister.
Well, Madam Speaker, I do thank the Leader of the Opposition for his question. It is a very serious topic, and this is a difficult and anxious day for the workers at Qantas. A very difficult and anxious day for them, and it's a very troubling day for everyone who is following this news. I absolutely accept that. Madam Speaker, I do point out that there are services available to people who lose their jobs, including those at Qantas. I also point out, Madam Speaker, that the fundamental job of government is to ensure that our economy is as strong as possible. And that means getting the fundamentals right. That means trying to ensure that taxes are as low as possible, that regulation is as low as possible, that the ordinary law of the land operates. And Madam Speaker, the last thing I am going to do today is to play politics or to try to make capital out of what is a very difficult day. But I am going to provide, as much as I can, hope and confidence to our country. I am going to state my conviction that the management of Qantas are doing their best to ensure that Qantas is stronger in the future than it has been in the recent past, and I'm not going to get into the business of being critical of a company and a management which are doing their best to secure the future. Now, Madam Speaker,
silence on my left.
Madam Speaker, I do want to remind the House that back in 2012, when Qantas announced that 500 jobs were to be lost, the then Minister for Workplace Relations very truly and very correctly pointed out these workers are highly trained and highly skilled. I am sure any prospective employer will get a bargain with these workers. Well, the Minister for Employment was right then. I grieve with the workers who are facing an uncertain future, but just as the Minister for Employment in that government at that time was right then, I am right when I say that there will be better days ahead in a stronger economy when workers can get the jobs they need.
I call the member for Robertson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. Will the Prime Minister update the House on the government's plan to grow a stronger economy and create jobs in the light of the announcement by Qantas today?
I call the Honourable the Prime Minister.
Well, Madam Speaker,
The member for Gellibrand.
Madam Speaker, I do thank the member for Robertson for a question, and again, I reiterate that this is a hard day. It's a hard day for the workers at Qantas, and it's a hard day for everyone who is following this. But, Madam Speaker, on hard days especially, it's important to tell the truth. And the truth is that there are services available to people in this country who lose their jobs, and particularly when we're talking about a company like Qantas, people's entitlements are absolutely safe. But another important truth, Madam Speaker, is that governments don't save businesses. What saves businesses is the management and the staff working together to make the future better than the past. It isn't government's job to run businesses, it's government's job to get the fundamentals right. Because, Madam Speaker,
member for Moreton is warned.
As this government understands in the marrow of its bones, it's not government that creates jobs, it's profitable businesses that create jobs. It's not government that creates wealth, it's profitable businesses that create wealth. And, Madam Speaker, government's job is to make it easier for those businesses to flourish. Now, our plan for a stronger economy with more jobs, it starts with abolishing the carbon tax, because let's not forget that the carbon tax is a $9 billion a year tax on jobs, and, Madam Speaker, it's a $106 million a year tax on Qantas. It continues with scrapping the mining tax, which has done so much to reduce investment in our country. It goes on with cutting red tape, and we're committed to a $1 billion red tape cost saving for the businesses of Australia. We're also committed to try to ensure that the rule of law operates in all of our workplaces through restoring the Australian Building and Construction Commission, and that, Madam Speaker, in a previous incarnation was responsible for $6 billion worth of productivity improvements. We will, Madam Speaker, create 1 million new jobs within 5 years. We will create 2 million new jobs within a decade. Madam Speaker, the challenge of government, is not to guarantee every single existing job. The challenge of government is to ensure that there are new and better jobs available to the workers of Australia when they want them and when they need them.
I call the Honourable the Leader of the Opposition.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. The Treasurer met with Qantas in early December last year. A massive profit write-down was announced by Qantas on the 6th of December last year. There's been ongoing speculation that the government would provide Qantas with a standby facility. Prime Minister, given the tragic loss of 5,000 jobs today, when will the speculation end? When will the government act? Will the government provide a standby facility to Australia's national airline?
I call the Honourable the Prime Minister.
Well, Madam Speaker, as the Leader of the Opposition well knows and has just said, this government has been in regular contact with Qantas. As you'd expect, we've been in regular contact with Qantas. And there are a number of things that Qantas would like, and this government is to do what we can for Qantas, consistent with responsible economic management. We are determined to do what we can for Qantas, consistent with responsible economic management. And that essentially means that we should ensure that Qantas can compete on a level playing field. We want to ensure that Qantas is not competing against its rivals with a ball and chain around its leg. That's what we are trying to ensure. As for the other measure, which the Leader of the Opposition has sought assurances on, the difficulty, Madam Speaker, is this. What we do for one business, in fairness, we have to make available to all businesses. But I accept, Madam Speaker, that Qantas does want a level playing field, and the government is determined to ensure that they get an appropriate level playing field. So, in that sense at least, Qantas does need this government's help. Qantas does need this government's help, but it needs the parliament's help. In fact, it needs the opposition's help too. It needs the opposition's help too. And I say to the Leader of the Opposition, join with me in helping Qantas by scrapping the carbon tax, by repealing the sale.
The Prime Minister will resume his seat. On a point of order, the Manager of Opposition Business.
It is not open to the Prime Minister to be speculating on opposition policy.
That is not a point of order, and indeed it's an abuse of the standing orders. The member will resume his seat. The Prime Minister has the call. Or has he completed his answer? I call the honourable member for Ryan.
My question is to the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Infrastructure and Regional Development. Minister, will you please update the House on issues that are impacting Qantas and the airline's profitability?
I call the Honourable the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Infrastructure and Regional Development.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I thank the member for Ryan for her question. This is certainly
the member for Wakefield might
day.
remember he's a slow learner. He's warned.
This is certainly a tough day for Qantas and its workers and families, and indeed
Seems we have one or two in the same boat.
an important day for the future of aviation in
The
Australia.
member for Isaacs will desist.
It's obviously a particularly difficult time for those families who are uncertain about their future. And it's vital that Qantas works with its workforce constructively, works with the unions and others associated with the industry to try and make the transition that they're going through as smooth and as painless as possible. The reality is that Qantas plays a vital role in providing air services for our nation, and it will have a key role also into the future. This government and all Australians want Qantas to be a strong company in the years ahead so that it can continue to be a national icon known around the world. But the reality is that aviation is changing. New aircraft have modern technology, and so many of the jobs that were required in the past are not needed into the future. We don't put our cars in for a grease and oil change every 1,000 kilometres anymore. And new aircraft are the same. They don't require the same level of services as was required in the past. You can't maintain a 747 maintenance facility if you've only got 8 aircraft. You can't open up a new service facility if you've only got a dozen 380s. And so many of the jobs that were required in the past are not required in the future. And of course, new technology is making such a difference as well. But there are more issues than this. The carbon tax is costing Qantas $106 million this year. Next year, it'll be $168 million. Now, honourable members opposite think that that's unimportant. Well, those two numbers together are more than the loss that Qantas announced today. And if you look forward over the coming 3 years, and if there was no carbon tax, there would be a good quarter of the 3 million that Qantas want to save would indeed be saved. Those $3 billion could be saved if Labor was prepared to vote to get rid of the carbon tax. And the mining tax has similar figures. Labor can help to make Qantas more profitable.
I call the honourable member for Grayndler.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Transport. Does the Prime Minister stand by his comments of today that workers' entitlements, the Deputy Prime Minister, that workers' entitlements at Qantas are responsible for some of the job losses that have occurred today? I say to the Deputy Prime Minister, is there any occasion in which workers lose their jobs in which this government doesn't blame those very workers themselves?
The latter part of the question is ruled out of order. The first part of the stands. I asked. The Manager of Opposition Business.
We have had answer after answer in this parliament where those opposite have blamed the workers, and we are exactly entitled to put that back to them in a question.
There is no point of order, and as the Manager of Opposition Business is perfectly aware, the rules apply to questions, not to answers. I call the Honourable the Deputy Prime Minister. Is the member for McMahon reflecting on the chair, or does he wish to withdraw?
I withdraw.
Thank you.